Welcome, everyone, as the Hypes watches today ranging beyond the wall again, and we're discussing the HBO series The Night of, Episode 3. With me tonight, I got my boys from the Hypes Watch, and go ahead and take it away, Don Willie.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Don Willie back again with the Hypes Watch, and discussing episode 3 of the night of, and just can't wait to talk about this one with my boys.
My name is James Burchell. Glad to be here. Interesting episode. Let's get into it. LT, go ahead.
What's up, everybody? So LT Giles here, and happy to be with my Night Watch Hypes Watch bros to talk about the
All right, guys. So this episode, we had, I guess I'll go with the recap of what went on in this episode, and then we'll discuss what we all thought about it. So we had basically, started out with, Nas getting brought into Riker prison. Then, we're prepping the cops for that made the arrest on there. And then Stone is talking about pricing with the parents. There's going back and forth. They obviously can't afford it. He's trying to make a deal with them. We find that we're introduced to Michael K. Williams in the prison in Riker. We see he has some kind of connection with the some cop lady that he's banging, and that's how he gets set up, and that's how he's got, I guess, his connections in Riker. And then we see Nas having to get set up in Riker. In the meantime, Stone meets with the DA, talks about possible plea. Then also, Nas's father meets with the other cab drivers that own the cab, and they're discussing about how to get what to do about getting their cab back, because they're not, obviously they can't make money. They don't have their cab, as their cab's being impounded for evidence. Then, what do we have next? Then we go back to the jail. We see Nas kind of getting some hints of something going on with Omar. He gives him a little bit of gift, gives him his buddy gives him advice about how to handle himself in the prison. And then from there, we have the cab drivers back talking about charges at the police station, about trying to get the cab back. And Stone starts beginning his investigation on the case, seeing, checking out the crime scene, a few things. Then we're introduced to a new lawyer, a woman named Allison Crowe. She eventually comes to visit the family and offers her services for free. And finally, Stone visits the prison and finds out that this new lawyer's in charge of Nas, and Nas has kind of dismissed him. And then we have a final scene of Omar kind of giving Nas a little bit of advice about what's going on in the prison, about what he should expect, offering him protection, and then we see the first sign of trouble for Nas in the prison. And that pretty much ends the episode. That was just a quick skeleton rundown, so let's get everyone else's more detailed thoughts on the episode. We'll start with James Burchell.
Just kind of like how I perceived the video or the episode was kind of like more of an episode of Oz compared to what we've seen so far in the night of. There wasn't a lot of actually detective legwork, or we didn't learn any new things involving the case. It was more just kind of like a character building episode. Obviously we're going to see something happen with the Alice Crowe character and Stone, because obviously I think we're all going to agree that Stone's got to get back on the case. He's John Turturro. He's the main character. He's going to get involved back again somehow. It was interesting to see that Michael K. Williams is essentially running the prison. He's got multiple guards under his employ. He's, he controls things in the streets in the Bronx. So obviously he's a big deal, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen with his character and Nas.
All right, thanks there, James. LT, what do you got to say here about this episode?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like that. Michael K. Williams is looking out for him, but I'm just thinking, like, what, and like, I'm trying to put myself in that position. If I was in the cell, immediately I'm going to ask him, what do I have to do for you to get your protection? I mean, nothing's free in life, and I guess Nas saying, not saying yes is that reason possibly, and then the guy that was on the bed right next to him, that's Sticky Fingers from the band Onyx, and I totally recognized him. And he kind of was looking out for Nas a little bit, telling him not to tell nobody nothing, and that was pretty cool. Now, the biggest thing we see in this episode, out of everything, is the back door. When the cat comes in, that shows you, and it was unlocked, that shows you that somebody more than came up and killed her while he was sleeping. That is so big to me. I feel for Nas's family. I mean, 75,000 and 50,000. Just a really good episode, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, and it's a good catch on the back door. I think that's the one thing we saw about maybe the whodunit. So who could have came in through that back door? But we'll talk more about that in a little bit. First, let's get Don Willie's thoughts on this episode.
Yeah, it was definitely a change of pace, from the last couple of weeks. I mean, this is a lot less action-packed. We saw a lot more of just the inner workings of how things are going for Nas in the prison. And, his lawyer is kind of desperate to have a better reputation for himself. He's going there to the district attorney, and the district attorney is kind of clowning him. And then after that, when Allison Crowe goes to the Khan family, she's kind of clowning him like, hey, look, this guy is the trial lawyer. All he cares about is the money. And, unfortunately, the Khan family didn't see how they were being manipulated. They come in with a translator, and she's like, oh, yeah, no, don't worry, I'm going to do this for absolutely no money. And unfortunately, they're not really questioning, like, why would you do this for more money? Like, they're not questioning the deeper reasoning behind why she would be doing it pro bono. So that was very interesting. And then obviously the cat, that's going to be something, because, why would you constantly keep on going through having the cat there, and him taking the cat to the animal shelter? It's like, oh, well, how many days are you gonna keep him around? So obviously the cat is gonna play some kind of part in the proving that that Nas did not kill that young lady.
Yeah, that's some good stuff there. Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I don't know how much the cat has anything to do with it, other than it might be the key to waking Stone up to about that door being unlocked. As far as my thoughts, I thought it was my least favorite of this season so far, but it was still pretty good. Like I think James said, it was an episode of Oz kind of thing, where we're getting kind of we're shifting to more of a whodunit kind of thing, until like Nas is fucked kind of thing. He's fucked by the judicial system. He's going to be fucked by the jail system. He's just fucked in a lot of ways. And I think that's a lot what this episode was really all about. And like how little, how hard it is going to be on him to show that he's innocent. Like, never mind all the evidence that they got against him. Just the situation has everything stacked against him. The money, the inability for his parents to create money from the cab, possibly getting the shit kicked out of him in prison. You don't want the quicker he makes a plea deal, and confesses, the quicker he gets out of that prison and goes into maybe somewhere where he can be actually locked up and have a door protect him. I mean, maybe not. I don't really know too much about prison, so can't really say. But yeah, I mean, I think it just goes to show the uphill the outside. Other than the actual case, this is showing the outside forces that's going to be going at like making it an uphill battle for Nas that have nothing to do with the case. So I started thinking of that, and so that was my thoughts for this episode. What I wanted to discuss about is the introduction of. I think the biggest introduction of this episode was the new lawyer. What the hell is her game? Because we see, she accuses Stone of trying to bleed this family out of for money. But when I heard those numbers, I'm like, a lawyer in New York, no doubt. That's basically pennies he's asking for. I mean, yeah, $50,000 or $50,000 is a lot of money. But shit, I mean, if you get a DWI, that's costing you $20. We're talking murder here. So, what do you guys think about this new lawyer? How she played it? What's her game? And I'll give my thoughts after y'all guys are gone. Let's start with Don Willie.
I mean, well, this was pretty interesting for her showing up like this. Like I said, this is obviously some sort of manipulation tactic, but then, it's what's in it for her, right? Because obviously you have this big-time law firm, and she's, like when she's first introduced, she's doing a case about, I guess, malpractice with plastic surgery. So, her thing, it seems like it's all about publicity and some money somewhere else. Not necessarily getting money from the cons. Like they said, she can afford to do this for nothing because she gets paid so much with other things. But then still the motivation is, here you have a case where a young man is going to be tried for rape and murder. And 9 times out of 10, most female lawyers wouldn't take a case like that. So why is she doing it? Like, what does she gain out of taking this case and defending someone who is accused of such heinous crimes? And that's the thing that we're gonna have to figure out, because like why would she need it? And then also to throw John Stone under the bus. It's like, what there's got to be something more behind it. It can't just be, I thought this was a man who needed to be represented. Whereas John Stone, we kind of see that he's a little bit more personally invested into the case. Now he's still doing it for money, but there's a lot more personal investment than Alison Krogh, than anything to me that she could want to have in this particular case. I mean, that's my take on that.
What do you think, LT?
Yeah, it puzzles me because she's doing this for free, pro bono. I mean, you can't beat that. I mean, 50,000, and then pro bono. But there is something there, some ulterior motive that I don't know yet. But I'm wondering, when Stone talked to the lady that speaks their language, when he walked away, she was kind of smirking, like a smile, like, I don't know if that means anything, but why was the camera focusing on her, I don't know.
James?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the second that she was in her house, after she was like talking to her assistant or the young lawyer that was working in her office, It's like, oh, are you, you're Indian, close enough, and she takes her over there, and I knew there's some angle. I said in our little chat, I was like, what's this angle that this lawyer is playing here? Or there's got to be some angle, because I mean, we know that John Stone is the main lawyer here, and he's going to get back in employ of their family. I mean, I just think it's pretty logical that's going to happen. But I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. We're going to see what happens. I mean, there was also the part where the other cabbies are thinking about now maybe pressing charges of Grand Theft Auto on Nas, and the police officer gave him his card. So I don't know, maybe something comes out of that with all this. But yeah, it's I don't know. Obviously, I mean, there's something there. There's something there. It's fishy. Obviously, she's doing it. I mean, good pub is essentially what she's doing it for. But I mean, I don't blame the parents for taking her. I mean, free is free. But yeah, we'll see what happens in the future. There's something obviously going to happen.
I agree that there's obviously something going on, and it's something fishy, and in my opinion, it's something not good. I saw a parallel going on here between the way Nas handled it and the way his parents handling things. People just don't work for free. Like, I mean, pro bono, you get paid by the county or the city. Someone pays you if you work pro bono. It's not, you don't work for free. This woman is like costing herself like $300,000 at least, and that's not even because of money that she could be making that much money by not wasting her time with Nas and just doing her normal cases. So it's costing her that money. Not only that, she's also taking on like hiring any expert witnesses, any scientific things to cover the case. I mean, you got to pay those people to, when they come in and testify for you or do tests for you or something, and she's going to cover all this? I mean, why? It makes no sense. Out of the goodness of her heart, I ain't buying it. I ain't buying it with this woman. And I think it goes to show that the parents were just like real quick. Like, they didn't ask, what's the catch? What's the catch? No, just give me, come here and help me protect my son. Use your lawyering to protect me, which is exactly the opposite of what Nas is doing. Nas is like, I kind of like Stone. I have a good feeling about Stone, and he's not, even though. So he likes Stone. So I mean, he just got that feeling, and then he's got that same feeling when he dealt with, I guess his name was Freddie, Michael K. Williams. When he dealt with Freddie, Freddie was offering him the same thing. He was like, I can protect you. I can help this for free. And Nas is like, no, there's a catch. There's a catch somewhere. No. So I think that's two interesting parallels of like where his parents were quick to jump on that. And Nas, he held it, he's a little skeptical. What do you guys think about that parallel? Is it something I'm imagining in my mind, or I don't know. What do y'all's thoughts there? Anyone who wants to answer? No?
I would like to know the answer, but it's just something that's going to be revealed. I mean, you want to think about what it is, but it's just a guess at this point. I believe in the future episodes we're gonna find out. But I have a question for you guys. So when Nasir was in the shower and he had the shoes, when Freddie gave him the shoes, was that just to protect his feet, or was that protecting him?
I thought it was so he didn't slip in the shower, like for traction, so he can like stand up and not get thrown on the slippery ground.
Okay, yeah, all right.
That's what I thought. James, what did you
I was just curious about that because.
Oh, I was thinking it was either for traction, like he said, or maybe it's like, if he's wearing the shoes, it's like a symbol that he's untouchable. Like, you can't touch him because Freddie says so.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's something good. I didn't catch that. You know what? I think now that I think about that, you might be right there, James. But did anyone else see that?
Yeah, it's just something.
Am I the only one?
Oh, sorry.
Well, go ahead and answer, LT. Did you see that parallel, or am I making is it in my mind? What do you think?
I guess, like I said, I think it'll I don't know. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
I mean, yeah, I see it, and it's interesting because Nas he might have some good intuition when it comes to liking Stone and maybe not taking Freddie's offer, but he sure didn't have good intuition the night when a pretty girl got into his cab.
Hey man, that's the weakness of all of us. Come on, man. Come on. Don Willie?
But oh, go ahead, Don Willie, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I definitely noticed the parallels. I mean, it's just one of those crazy things where, Stone put him up on a lot of game. When he was talking to him about not talking to people and the ulterior motives that they are going to have in dealing with him. And he's picked up on a lot of it, and that's why, when he goes and sees Freddie, he's just kind of like, all right, well, what is this, all about? And he's, real skeptical because he's got people who are constantly kind of threatening him, and people really don't believe him. And yeah, that was the one thing that did kind of get me, was like, how come he didn't ask Freddie exactly what he wanted to protect him? But then also with the parents too, they're trying to figure out, well, how do we protect our son? And for them, it's like they see John Stone, and let's be honest, he doesn't look like the most professional person out there. So they're like, all right, well, this guy doesn't necessarily have a good reputation, so, we're looking for the people who have the best reputation to possibly represent our son. And, yeah, you just got to kind of think like, there's a middle ground with all of these characters somewhere, and especially within the dynamics of the parents and Nas, obviously they all have the same goal. It's just that they see getting to the goal in different ways.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see that, and it's like how this Bruce guy in the chat says, basically that woman was that new lawyer woman was basically like, he knows nothing. John Stone knows nothing.
When it comes to Crow, Allison Crow, the new lawyer, I got to see her doing some lawyering. I got to see her interacting with Nas, and then maybe we can make a more discernible notion of what she's doing. Let's see her interact with Nas, and we'll see what kind of motive she has.
So what
Could we see it? Oh, my bad.
Well, no, go ahead. I was going to move on, but if you have something more to say, go for it, LT.
I was gonna say, could we see a possible dream team? Like Johnny Cochran and I can't remember the other lawyer's name, but them two teaming up possibly in the future. I mean, he could use all the help he could get, and
I thought that, but it doesn't make sense to me in a way. I don't think Crow really respects
no.
Stone, and I don't see Stone wanting to be like the second guy. Just one of her team, part of her team.
Yeah.
And then I also have this suspicion from the parallels that I came up with that Crow's up to no good. Yeah.
This really has no relevance, but I just have to mention it. And for you boxing fans out there, you got Nazir Khan, Amir Khan.
With his cousin. All right. So unless anyone has any more things to think about the the new lawyer lady, we'll move on from that. Does anyone have anything to say about how the DA's going on with this, how she's handling a plea, or how Box was, breaking down how to handle the jury with the detectives? I thought those were kind of two noteworthy points, or really how the legal system outside of the prison is really working in this case. Does anyone have anything to say about that from this episode?
When it comes to the DA meeting, you know, it was the point I brought up before. When you see a crime where someone is stabbed like 22 times, it's generally like something personal, you know. And Stone said it himself, like it's a crime of passion, or you know, usually it's like you have a personal reason why you want to do this. So that's the reason why I don't believe Nas did it. But yeah, and Stone brought it up. So I think we're gonna find out that it's gonna be someone that it was a personal reason why she was killed by someone that she knew personally. We'll find that out in the end, I believe. But when it comes to Box, he definitely wants to nail Khan. He wants Nas to go down. It seems like he really wants him to go down at this point. That's kind of what I got out of it. The conversation he was having, like, you know, this is what you guys got to do, so we can get a conviction here. So I don't know. I didn't take away too much from what was going on, but that's just kind of the stuff I was taking away. Kind of like I guess. It's almost like you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but in today's judicial system, it's more the other way around. You're guilty till proven innocent.
Yeah, I kind of got that same thing that that Box has taken off his investigator cap and he's put on his conviction cap now, and that's where they're going. Sometimes my opinion. Anyone know everything? Any more thoughts on that, Don Willie?
Yeah, I mean, look, I kind of got that from the very beginning. You know, he wants to put this to bed as quickly as possible. He thinks, you know, I already got the person who did this, so, you know, look, just make it easier on yourself, confess, and then when Nas was kind of like, you know, he basically subtly gave him the middle finger on that one. Then that's when he decided he was going to turn it up to 11 on him. And now he's in full, just in full conviction mode. He's like, all right, nah, man, you know what? How dare you not be contrite about this heinous crime that you obviously committed? So now it's all about I'm going to put you away in the most harsh and efficient way that I possibly can, since you wouldn't be cooperative. You know, since you didn't do what I wanted you to do, now I'm gonna make your life a living hell. And you know, unfortunately, that's a real bad precedent to be set by anyone in law enforcement. Period.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you hit it pretty well in the nail there. Anyone else has anything else to say there? We'll go ahead and move on. All right. So one thing I wanted to ask: what did y'all guys think about? Do you think his father's cab drivers, the other guys who quit? Do you think they're going to do anything to cause a ruckus in his plan? I see James nodding his head. James, go.
Well, I think for sure they're going to, because I mean they made it a point for the cop to say, hey, you can charge him, you know, you can arraign him for Grand Theft Auto charges. Gave him John Stone's card. They gave each other a glancing look. I think it's pretty imperative that they're gonna cause some ruckus. They're gonna file some charges, I believe.
Something's got to be illegal on that. How can a cop like give advice like that? That just, I don't know if that's legal or not, but that's shady as hell. Not only does he give him advice, he gives him a fucking lawyer's card to tell him, okay, this is what you need to do to go through with this. That just seems shady as hell. I don't know. Don Willie, I think you have something to say about this.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy, because it was like, hey, yeah, we can't do anything about the cab until after the trial, and that could be months. And they're trying to figure out, like, well, how the hell do we get the car back? And the cop is like, oh, hey, if you could just press charges on Nas, then maybe you'll get your car back sooner. but beyond that, though, if you notice, there was somebody who was taking pictures of Nas's dad while he was out with the two other guys who owned the cab. And I'm wondering what that's about because, like, could that have possibly been an investigator for the prosecution? Trying to make some sort of terrorist ties or make it appear as though his father was somehow involved with all of this. But yeah, obviously, that one scene right there could possibly cause trouble, especially since John Stone is not his lawyer right now. Excuse me. Yeah, but since he's not Nas's lawyer, I mean, what's going to happen when these two guys call him up and be like, "Hey, we want you to, take our case of, the cab that was stolen and used in a murder."
Yeah, I mean, there's really a lot of mystery going on there, and it's a lot of fucked up going on in there. So, I don't know. More to say about that. Unless anyone else has anything to say, we'll go ahead and move on. LT, you have something?
Yeah, it's confusing as hell to me because you got the fucking lawyer that represents Nazir. I guess he's not anymore. Well, was he at that point in time? Was he still representing Nazir?
I mean, he was under the impression he's representing Nazir until Nazir
No,
told him not
but
to.
what I'm saying, at the point that the cop gave him the card, at that point he was still representing Nazir, right?
Yes.
So,
As far as the cop knew.
Oh, yeah, okay, but what I'm saying is, would John Stone persecute his own client for Grand Theft Auto? Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
No, I don't think you can't do that either. I'm pretty sure.
And,
Well, I mean, I can't say for sure. I don't know the law as well, but I would be very shocked if he could.
Yeah, and I think that's possibly the prosecution following Nazir's father around taking pictures. I don't think it's anybody else. I just think it's the prosecution.
It's so weird to me, but whatever. All right, so let's move to really the kind of the final thing I wanted to talk about here before we talk about who done it, and that is the prison. Just everything that went on, from him checking in to what's going on with Michael K. Williams to the final scene, everything. What do y'all guys got to say about this prison? Who wants to? LT, you want to go first?
Yeah, it's funny because I watched the trailer for this episode, and I think Nazir's gonna be safe because he's with Muslims, and then you find out from Michael K. Fast Freddy that that they're actually Nation of Islam fake Muslims that don't even care about their religion, that just want to get stuff for that, and he says that they hate Nazir, and then they just burn his bed, and it's like Nazir's in big trouble, big trouble, and. You think his best thing would be to take Fast Freddy's help, but it's just tough. He could get killed at any minute. I know me personally, if I was in this position, because I've never been to prison, but I've heard stories, I would PC up and get in protective custody. I don't know why he hasn't thought of that yet, because I mean they do that, and plus, he's a high price. He's a celebrity, and they do that with celebrities. They put him in protective custody right away. There was a guy years at the Prem Nevada out here that murdered a little girl, and everybody kept on saying, "Oh, right away he's going to get killed." He's alive to this day. You know why? Because he's in protective custody. So I would have PC'd up. I like how when Nazir walked into Freddy's cell, you saw all the boxing things and stuff, and I thought that was pretty cool. And hopefully we're going to see in the future, maybe Freddy's going to have to beat some people's ass protecting Nazir, but it doesn't look too good for Nazir right now,
Yeah, it's pretty bad. James?
I mean, the main takeaway is don't go to prison, I guess. I mean, it's a pretty shitty place. This is a episode of angles. We have the angle. What's the lawyer's angle? What's Freddy's angle? Because obviously, obviously we all said, protection doesn't come for free. So there's got to be some sort of catch. But yeah, I don't know. If it was me, I probably would have taken the protection. You know, I like to find out what I would ask what would need to happen to get that protection, but because things aren't looking good for him. Yeah, and it's also interesting that you see that really in some regards the inmates run the prison, not the guards. He's got guards under his sway, and he's obviously a big deal. So his character is interesting. I really like Michael K. Williams. Obviously, I liked him in The Wire, and of course, Boardwalk Empire as Chalky White. I think he's a great actor, and he's going to be in this season. You know, have a pretty big role in the season. So, yeah, prison sucks. That's my main takeaway.
Definitely sucks. What about you, Don Willie?
Yeah, I mean that whole thing. You know, listen, I'm not ever trying to be locked up. Never ever. And just like, with Sticky Fingers up there giving him the rules about making sure to keep to himself and not really answer any kind of questions. And then, and you have the prison guard that comes to him and was like, hey, Freddie wants to see you. Like, I can't front. That whole scene where he takes out the veil or whatever, that was a little creepy. Some of they're like, all right, well, what is he trying to do to the guy? Obviously, he's trying to intimidate him somehow, but, I was like, is he about to try to rape him right now? Because I'm not sure Nas would have escaped. But, yeah, like, definitely bad form on his part not to ask, like, what is this protection going to cost? Because, look, at the end of the day, it is jail. We've all heard about, what goes on in prison, and, yeah, I mean, like, who knows what he might have wanted, in order to grant him that protection. So, listen, I'm pretty sure many of you have seen Boondocks. Not the Boondocks, you've seen Shawshank Redemption, or you've seen Oz, or you've seen something prison-related. I'm like, what is this going to cost me? Because, hey, if you're talking about putting any foreign objects in my body at all, we're just going to have, you might as well just kill me now, because we're fighting.
Yeah.
Just a quick question. What the hell is he going to do with the veal? Like, is he going to pull out a George Foreman and grill it up real fast? Like, I didn't know what the hell what is he going to do with that piece of veal?
He had a hot plate in there.
He had a hot plate. Okay, I didn't see that. I wasn't sure what he was going to do.
I don't even know how to use a hot plate, but whatever. Anyways, what my take of this whole prison thing is, yeah, it's just another uphill climb that Nas has to deal with, and it just goes to show, like, kind of, he's not going to have, it makes it that much harder for him to have a fair trial. He's supposed to be using this time to, prepare his defense. He don't even know he can't even decide what to do about a lawyer because he's worrying about who's going to kick the shit out of him, It's like, he's worrying about things he shouldn't have to worry about yet. Like, supposed to be innocent till proven guilty. Well, I mean, he's already got all the disadvantages of a guilty man right now. So, yeah, I mean, I don't understand how he's supposed to mount a defense while he's worried about who might rape him in the shower or burn his mattress. So, that's my take from that. And unless anyone else has anything to say or anything to comment about that?
Yeah, I do. So yeah, like the guy told him, everybody was filling him out, and like I've never been in prison myself, but I've had plenty of people I know, I've heard horror stories, and prison's not for the weak. If you do not stand up for yourself, you're done, and that's what Nasir is. He's giving off that vibe. He's scared. He's terrified. But if you cannot at least stand up for yourself, there's going to be some very bad things that are going to happen to you. Because that's what they prey on in there. They prey on the weak. And, survival of the fittest. It's a war zone. It's like, people have told me you could go in there and go like a week without no problems. But the moment you make eye contact with the wrong guy who's just a loose cannon, he just starts something with you, and then you fight him, and then he's in a gang, and then you got the whole gang after you. It's just not a spot to be at. And just like I think James said, the moral, the episode of moral, the whole story is don't go to prison. Your freedom is very valued. My freedom, very valued. I would not want to go to prison because it would turn me into an evil person.
So, moving on to our final segment of who has done it. We really didn't get too much new information other than the back door. So, let's go with James Michelle. Do you think that affects who you think is the number one candidate for who has done it?
Not really. I mean, for me, it's the same two people: the angry stare guy in the first episode, and then her stepfather in the second episode, and whoever motorcycle person was. I mean, as we haven't really got enough information, I don't believe, to, and especially this episode didn't really get much at all. So, not much changed.
Don Willie?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the same. And someone brought up in the chat room that they're probably gonna find out that it was someone right-handed who stabbed the girl, and so that Nas is left-handed. So yeah, I definitely think that, like, we didn't really get anything new. So for me, I'm still gonna go with the angry stare guy as being my number one suspect. I don't think that stepfather would gain anything unless he just really hated the shit out of his stepdaughter.
LT?
Yeah, with the backdoor thing, the stepfather is the top suspect. I mean, who else would know that a door was unlocked, that you could just go in there that easy, Definitely the stepfather. If you guys noticed the cop, that when he was walking out the house, the cop that he had the camera and he's like, this is going on YouTube. He's been in some stuff. I recognize him. I love just recognizing actors. But no, definitely the father is my top suspect until I see more evidence. I think we're going to see more stuff from the father and possibly, motives of, like, he did hate her or something, something that we haven't seen yet. But yeah, top suspect of creepy father.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say the needle moved too much for me, but it did move enough for me to put I'm going to agree with LT. Stepfather has jumped into number one suspect for me. He might be the motorcycle guy, and if he's not the motorcycle guy, then I think he's jumped the motorcycle guy. Because, yeah, just like exactly what LT said, he would have known that back door is right there. He needs to get through. That's my opinion there. Unless anyone else has anything to say, we'll go on to final thoughts of the episode and then sign off. Anything to say? All right, let's go with the final thoughts and sign off. Don Willie.
Yeah. So this one, probably not the best one of the series thus far, but it does have a lot of setup. It introduces us to new characters and new dynamics, and it's going to be interesting to see where they progress from here. So yeah, I can't wait to see what happens next episode and for the rest of the series.
James?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't my personal favorite episode, but no, it was fine, and yeah, I think the most important thing was discovering what is the angle of Allison Crowe and Freddy. So that's my main takeaways from this episode.
LT?
Definitely agree with James there about Allison Crowe. I'm definitely intrigued by this show. It's not the most entertaining thing I've ever seen, but it's got me, and I love mysteries. I love when Jon Stone is at the scene taking pictures. I love that shit. I love in the books when the detective goes to the crime scene and he's digging in everything. I'm intrigued, and I'm excited to find out who the guy is. I'll tell you right now, honestly, the biggest twist to me would be if Nazir is the one who killed her, but I don't think that's the case. But no, I'm looking forward to analyzing this and us as a group find out who the killer is.
Yeah, I agree that this is also probably the weakest. But you know what? It's compelling. It's interesting to think about what these angles are. Like James said, it's been an episode of angles, so there's more to there's new twists to find out, and I'm definitely hooked and looking forward to episode 4, and hopefully you guys are too, and will join us next week, and we should return on Monday. And yeah, it's been the Hypes Watch. Does anyone have anything further to say, or should I just sign off? All right, signing off, and have a good night, everyone.